don't have where you approve the agenda. It's not on here. So we gotta do that.
7:05.
Yeah, Ms. O'Callaghan can do it. Pull item J. What was it?
Page 51, under personnel. Get it for you right now. It's reference J 2.2.
Okay, Frisbee's not here? Okay.
It's this item here though, but there's no number on it.
Anaya
It's usually a name.
Red, Jorge Nunez, and Andrea.
See, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
Are we pulling the whole page?
No, we
Is
just
this-
pulling.
And see, there's no reference.
So we're gonna pull the
Unless,
agenda.
let's look at personnel for a second here. Or J. Let's see. J
It's 2.2.
2.2.
And I guess I'll just have to call his name.
Well, normally we don't do that.
I know, but
We need a number. Let me see if I can help you there. Do we have a number instead of calling his name?
Yeah,
Personnel number?
I think this is the number,
What is it?
1077
1077
5314.
5314. Okay. Make sure we got a number for you.
This is the number.
775-314. Okay, I got it.
So,
Saida. What was that again? Vera, Naya, Quintero. Okay.
Yeah, right here.
Good evening, everyone. We will call the meeting of the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education meeting to order at 7:08. At this time, we will have Veranaya Quintero. Where is she? She will come to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, we will have a report out of closed session. Mr. Islam?
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. In closed sessions, the Board of Education approved the classified employee number 10775314 on unpaid leave effective January 9, 2014 through May 1st, 2014. That's all. And the roll call vote was 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Islam. Looking at our agenda, there's an item missing on the agenda. We have to approve the agenda, and that's missing on our, so we need to vote to approve the agenda.
so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we will approve the agenda, and we need to pull one item from the agenda. Item J, page 51, 2.2, employee number 10775314. All in favor to approve the agenda?
If I may, Madam Chair, I just would like to make an amendment that we, if it's okay with the board, that we allow the students who are going to be giving presentations tonight, and also the parents who are going to be recognized tonight, so that they can get home. Kids got homework, and parents might want to get back to their families. If we can move item C, presentations, to before public comments, that way we can get that done first, order of business, and then public comments after that, if that's okay.
Board approval?
Aye.
It's fine
Aye.
with me. Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Montes, for that suggestion. Now we will vote on the amendment and the pull from the agenda. So all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried by by 4 members of the board. And at this time, let me say that our student board member had some other things to do tonight that had to do with football and scholarships and so forth. So he is not going to be here, but we will miss Micah tonight. Now we will start with our presentations, and Mrs. O'Kelly is going to take Micah's place and do that for us to call
I've got to
up
do my hair differently.
our DSAC students. Mrs. O'Kelly.
Okay, Frisbee Middle School has not arrived, I guess, because I do not have a name here. Okay, then from J. Hugh Middle School, let's welcome Sophia Argonal.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Acting Superintendent Mr. Islam, and viewing audience. My name is Sophia Arginal, current ASB Vice President, and as we enter the new year, I'm honored to be here this evening. December wasn't the busiest month for ASB, although we held a Hawaiian T-shirt day on Friday, December 13th. And yes, I said Friday the 13th. Also, in recognition of our boys and girls basketball team, we are going to have a Disney-themed pep rally this Friday, January 10th. As we hula our way through the pep rally, it is also Disney T-shirt day. So come in with your favorite Disney character on your shirt. By the way, I already picked Mickey Mouse as my character, so you'll have to find a different one. We would like to thank Mr. Islam for rewarding our DSAC members with our new hats. This will look great with our DSAC shirt. Don't you agree? Lastly, thank you, Mrs. Gilbert, for the inspirational advice you gave the DSAC students. We really needed it. Thank you, and have a good night, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Next, from Cole Middle School, let's welcome Anaya Red.
Good evening, honorable board members, actor superintendent Mr. Islam, and our viewing audience. I am Anaya Red, a 7th grader and the ASB communication director at Cole Middle School. On January 30th, we will be taking a trip to a tropical island at our Hawaiian dance. Aloha! Swish! Watch out, Falcons. The Cougars basketball team are ready to pounce out our competition this Saturday. The Mighty Cougar Marching Band and Cheers and Spirit Team took first place at the Rialto Holiday Parade on December 14th, 2013. Kolb's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade Mesa students will be competing at UCR on February 15th. Science Fair Family Night, I hope to see you there. We are going to be awarding our students for their good science fair projects. As you can hear, Kolb students and staff have really grabbed hold of our slogan. So let's do one more thing, one more time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
From Cusera Middle School, welcome Jorge Nunez.
Good evening, Honorary Board of Education, Acting Superintendent Mr. Islam, and viewing audience. In the past few months, many events have been held at Cusera. In the month of November, our PE department held a canned food drive for the less fortunate, and they were able to collect 3,452 cans. Our ASB held our annual Fall Carnival which included a tiki wall, bubble rollers, and very delicious tacos. Also, Coursera supported the Typhoon Haiyan victims in the Philippines by raising $400.30 and donating the proceeds to the American Red Cross. In December, Coursera held our annual student trip to Disneyland. Also in December, our wonderful music program held their annual winter concert, which was directed by our very own Miss Nolan. This month, Coursera will have a family math night on the 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. Also, students who follow the character trait of January, which is orderliness, will be awarded with the monthly Breakfast of Champions. I would also like to thank Mr. Islam for taking his time and giving hats to all DSAC members, and to President Gilbert for taking time out of her day to come speak to us. These are all the events that have been held at Coursera for this month and for the past couple of months. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
And from Rialto Middle School, Andrea Succi.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Acting Superintendent Mr. Islam, and our viewing audience. My name is Andrea Succi, and I am the ASB Vice President at Rialto Middle School. I would like to welcome you all back from a much-needed break. With semester finals out of the way, I was able to enjoy friends, family, food, and more food, and more food. Gotta love the holidays. I would like to acknowledge our boys football team for another undefeated season. Way to go, guys. I'm thinking it has got to be the cheerleaders. The Douglas brothers, our coaches, think it might be their great coaching. Whatever. Go Tigers. Our Tigers were well represented in the Rialto Holiday Parade with our marching band, cheerleaders, Builders Club, and mascot handing out candy canes and books along the parade route. Our Builders Club assisted the Sparkle Love Toy Drive with the donated toys and 3 new bikes. I know their efforts made some children very happy on Christmas Day. Over 300 honor roll and perfect attendance students attended our Fall Knots Berry Farm trip on November 22nd, where I ate one too many funnel cakes. I know better now. Our winter formal dance was well attended by over 250 students, and we named our royal Ice King and Queen. I guess that Lord states we will never be royal. On January 31st, we will have our first semester honor roll assembly to honor our outstanding students. February 24th marks our second Take Your Parent to School Day. Parents will shadow us to our classes throughout the day. I hope my teacher catches my mom chewing gum. I know she always catches me. They will even have lunch with us, as Nutrition Services prepares a hamburger barbecue for everyone. Just like home, we always eat better when guests are coming over. Join us if you can. It will be fun. I thank you for your time and see you next month with more Tiger updates.
Thank you. Is that all of our middle schools?
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Kelly. Next, we will have a Parent Safety Academy recognition, and Board Member Martinez will lead the way.
Thank you, President Gilbert. Good evening, one and all. Could I be joined by a couple of people here? Field representative for Cheryl R. Brown, John, I'm going to butcher this, Gaidy? If you'd come join us. I understand you have certificates for these people as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight we have a special presentation honoring the hard work of our parents and Safety Security Department. May I please have our Chief of Safety, Gordon Leary, and safety instructors, Kathy McFarland, Patricia Connor, and Letty Tapia. Please come up. Personally, I'd like to thank you for all you do. I mean, you see the same faces over again, the same places, and always pushing us forward. Thank you. And thank you for keeping our kids and staff safe. Okay, they will assist me in handing out some certificates since they were instrumental in teaching these classes. The Safety Department, under the leadership of Rialto Unified School District Chief Leary, began conducting extensive parent workshops in August 2013 at the elementary schools in an effort to fulfill the goals and expectations of an effective, comprehensive, safe school plan, which must be inclusive of all stakeholders and have community buy-in. These workshops focused on educating parents about the Safety Department's operation and programs. Parents were also invited to volunteer their services with the Safety Department to help ensure safe and orderly school environments. Last November, the Safety Department conducted the first parent volunteer safety training course for the district. The 2-day training course covered board policies for school volunteers, authority of the school site administrator, how to observe and report, student contact and supervision, emergency procedures and evacuation, radio communication procedures. 18 parents successfully completed the training course. Today, we would like to honor and commend each parent here tonight who have dedicated countless hours volunteering while at the same time maintaining their jobs and supporting their families. Not an easy task, as we all know. These certificates of completion are also an expression of the district's and our school board's appreciation to your commitment. Thank you for working together with us to make our schools safer for every student. Okay, as I call your name, please come up and then just go ahead and go down the line, shake our hands, and there's probably pictures going to be taken. And don't forget to shake the hands of the board. Okay, the certificates read, Certificate of Recognition presented on Wednesday, January 8th, 2014 by Rialto Unified School District Board of Education. Completion of Parent Safety Academy training, signed by Acting Superintendent Mohammed Islam and Board President Joanne T. Gilbert. And the first certificate is Wendy Gavani. Marlene Rivero Partida. Thank you.
They're probably not in the same order, though. Yeah, I don't think his are.
They want a picture.
Saida, get Wendy's.
Gabriela Madrid. Yesenia Higuera. Thank you. Rebecca Renteria. Cecilia Paladinas. Delilah Vasquez. Idolina Cardenas. Yolanda Mendoza. Patricia Aguilera. Beatriz Ballesteros. Thank you. Rosalinda Saldivar. Claudia Higuera. Victoria Gomez. We're not admitting to any aliases here tonight. Claudia Cuevas. Martina Perez. Elizabeth Moreno. I broke it. Jacqueline Urbieta. Thank you for all of this. Sharon, open this paper, please. And unbeknownst to them, the board will also honor all the instructors. Students, instructors, because along with the parents and students, our instructors dedicated a lot of evenings educating our parents. So please collect your certificates when we call your names. Okay, Kathy McFarland. Chief Gordon M. Leary. Patricia Connor. Yeah, no, so you'll be surprised. Yeah, she didn't want to open it, so she'll be surprised. Letty Tapia. All the pictures will be given to safety and security, so you can collect your mug shot. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez, for this presentation. I would like all of the ladies, they're sitting right up front, please stand up again and let's give them another hand. Thank you so much. Thank you. And next, we will have Parent Link, Parent Mobile Application Introduction.
We might need to move at least 2 seconds. Oh, okay. Sit down.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. Madam President, Mr. Islam, Ms. Joffrey, thank you for having me. I first want to, if I may, take just a few seconds to acknowledge the young people who got up here and spoke with such composure. I'm a big boy, and I'm very nervous. You know, almost debilitating stage fright, but the young people got up here, and I was very impressed. And also as a parent of 3 daughters, it's also Very gratifying to see all of you here. You care a lot about education. That's great. My name is Chris Prince, and I work for ParentLink. I'm the director of sales. I believe most of you know ParentLink because we are your hosted mass notification company. All of your community outreach messages, all of your daily attendance messages, all of your emergency messages. Tonight, I am here to talk about our next offering, which is the Rialto Unified School District mobile app. We believe at ParentLink that mobile technology is not the wave of the future. It's the wave of the now. All the information that your parents and community have come to expect on websites and through flyers and messages now should be at your fingertips. And we believe that that's what parents want and that's what parents need. I'm not just bringing this up out of thin air. There is Pew data that backs up all of these contentions. You can all read the screen here, but over 56% of U.S. adults are now owners of smartphones. I think that we can all agree that that number seems incredibly low. We're at Starbucks, we're at CVS, we are on our couch, and it seems like everybody has a smartphone. That number is even higher, as you can see, for African American and Hispanic Americans, and the numbers are expected to reach 80% by the end of the year. Additionally, the young and low-income and minority smartphone users tell us that they are using smartphones exclusively rather than having any other sort of internet connection at home. This should raise our eyebrows. And finally, we are being told that Americans are spending 6 times as much time on mobile apps versus their websites at home. And for that reason, we have developed the mobile app, and we are the leader in the K through 12 space. Everything that you could imagine or want, from news, all of your website information at the schools, at the district, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, calendar events. Again, I have 3 daughters, all at LAUSD. I can't tell you how many numbers of calls, emails, flyers coming home with updates. Now all of this information can be in one place, in your mobile app. Push notifications, sports scores, schedules, a tip line, anything that you want. If there's bullying that you see, remember, this app is not just for parents, but it's for the community. Anyone can download this for free. Anything that you see, you can now send a tip instantly. You can take pictures. It's got GPS coordinates, cafeteria menus, the ability to replenish a cafeteria balance, transportation information, school directories. How about a live stream of this board meeting, all on your phone? You don't have to go home to see this. Now you can see it on your phone. Common Core standards. Again, an incredible amount of misinformation. Now there's the ability for the district to add a widget to the app that talks about Common Core standards, and you can get your feedback at the same time. And most importantly, grades. This is what parents have said over and over and over about what they want. They want to have access to grades. We will give parents the ability to create thresholds so that they can get notified when a grade slips below a certain level. They will get notified when there is an assignment missing. Ultimately, we believe there's a correlation between a more educated parent and hopefully a higher achieving student. This will allow you to have more intelligent conversations with your children at the dinner table. Not just, how did your day go at school today, but, hey, I saw that you got a C on this assignment. Or, you know what, I noticed that there was an assignment missing. All of these things will allow you to be a more educated parent. In addition, we give administrators the ability to record a message and send it from anywhere where they've got their phone, to any group. They can send it via phone, email, directly to the app, text message, you name it. We can track these messages in real time. And in addition, we give them a directory so that in the event they're walking around campus and they see a child out of place, they are able to ask the child his or her name, look that child up in the mobile app. If there's a picture available, that picture will be there, see a class schedule, all of these things. The possibilities are really limitless. This is all we do. We create these mobile apps. We've got a huge team that does this. We are focused exclusively on the K through 12 market. We want this to be a professional representation of you. This is going out to the community. This is going out to parents. We do this the right way. We also don't want this to be a drain on district resources. We build this app, we maintain the app. Content is native, which means it is built exclusively for a mobile device. I see most of you, are clicking on a link on your phone and you're doing this and you're pinching and squeezing. All of the content on the app is called native, so it looks good on your phone. We want parents to come back. We don't want them to download it once. We want them to use the app, and I believe the district would want them to use the app as well. It's translatable into over 60 languages. And again, as I mentioned, there are thresholds that you can create. This is your app. You can do anything you want with this. As much as I'd love to say you'd be the first district to have a mobile app, I would be lying. We are working with several of the largest school districts in the country. Orange County Public Schools just deployed their app within the last few weeks. That's 180,000 students. Clark County, Nevada is, I believe, one of the top 3 largest districts in the country. You can see Broward County, several in Texas, Fairfax County in Virginia, and several of our neighbors here, but none in San Bernardino. We would love Rialto Unified to be the first in San Bernardino to deploy their mobile app. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Just a minute, come back.
Of course, I'm here. I'm not leaving.
We have questions.
I love them.
Ms. O'Kelly.
My concern, or I'm kind of wondering how you are going to do the grade thing, because every one of the child's teachers would have to be, how is this threshold going to be set to know, okay, the kid just took a test and his grade fell, but you have to have all that information from the teachers.
That's a great question. What we have found in the approximately 1 year that we have been doing this, and with the several hundred school districts that have created their own mobile app, is that some accountability will now have to be added to teachers, and maybe some best practices that we can share as to how to improve, more grade book entrance and more regular entries. I don't know how the district is doing that now, but there would be now some transparency as the community and parents would be expecting this information. So it's really something that's up to the district as to how they would regulate that. We can't force your teachers to update their grade books on a very regular basis. We can encourage them, and this is hopefully a reason to encourage them.
How long will it take to implement this type of program into our district?
Approximately 6 weeks. Because the district is already a client of ours, we are already working with the district and their student information system. It's roughly 6 weeks that it would take from start to finish. We would assign you a project manager that would provide a scope of work that is very detailed. And at that point, we would be working with the technology team to incorporate the grades. That's really the biggest part.
Is there staff development along with this?
Yes, there would be. Yeah, we would train. Although, if you think about it, this is really an app that is built for the parents. While there is the app component that is for district administrators, we would be happy to come in and go over exactly how to send a message. But if I had more time, I would show you on the screen that it is as simple as sending an email.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
I just wanted to thank you. It's a very timely app. It's something that is necessary. Parents have requested it for years of this board, and we are able to give it to them, well, as soon as 6 weeks.
I hope so. We like to say that we build it and you take the credit for it.
All right. I think Ms.
Yes.
O'Kelly had another.
Yeah, I would appreciate a little feedback on how you're doing the grade, because the grading with teachers is extremely individual.
Sure.
Some teachers still use the paper grade book.
Sure.
Some use, no, there's nothing uniform.
Right.
And I don't know what it would take to bring that about, but I'd be interested in knowing what some of these other districts are doing about the grade thing, because especially at the high school level, each child has, 6 teachers. So it's a lot of information to be gathering.
Sure. It's really case by case. All we can do is provide best practices. Roland Unified School District is a neighboring district of roughly the same size that is a raving fan, and what we would likely do is bring in their best practices and talk to whomever our district champion, whether it's Ms. Joffrey or whomever that person is, and talk to them about how Roland, got over that same barrier, because
Okay.
it is a barrier nationwide. It really is. We run into this issue just about everywhere.
Okay.
Ms. Gilbert, Dr. Levine would like to make a comment.
Ms. O'Kelly, we're working with the teachers in going towards using the gradebook and Synergy for every teacher in the district.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be able to open the parent portal at the beginning of the next school year. And when that's accomplished, then that would link in with Synergy. But
Okay.
you're right, at this time, it's not there yet.
Right, okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry, just very quickly to clarify, what you could do as well is to deploy the app without the grades right now. And maybe that's something that is deployed at the beginning of the fall quarter semester. It's the beginning of the new school year. But it's completely up to you. We'll work at your pace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we will have a review of contracts and purchasing policies, processes, and procedures presented by the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistant Team, FICMAC.
Ms. Gilbert, I'd like to introduce, we have John Bonflu from FICMAT, and Sue Daniel is here tonight to present the report to you, you have tonight. Thank you.
President Gilbert, Board of Trustees, Acting Superintendent Islam, staff and community members of Rialto. Thank you for inviting us here tonight to report out our study. I want to start with giving a little bit of background on FICMAT. FICMAT stands for Fiscal Crisis Management Assistance Team. The fiscal crisis component is why FICMAT was developed back in '92, and that's when districts go into fiscal issues and the state has to loan districts money. FICMAT goes in and takes control of the district on the fiscal crisis end and will run the district to assist it in correcting itself. The other part is the management assistance part of the team. That's part of what we're here tonight. FICMAT was commissioned to do a purchasing and contracts study with Rialto. We do a variety of studies throughout the state in different areas. In this particular one, we're doing contract and purchasing. I am a FICMAT representative. FICMAT keeps a core team of fiscal intervention specialists who go out into the field based on the requirements of each and every study and find specialists to join us. In that way, we have the expertise on hand for each and every study. In this review, the study scope in general was to review the district's purchasing and contract functions using a sampling of transactions and contracts, interviews with staff, and other documents. The staff can attest that we requested a lot of documents. A lot of the documents that we reviewed we didn't have any, there was no findings with. We will report tonight on those that we did have findings with, and we do have recommendations. In addition, we were to review policies, processes, and procedures and provide recommendations to increase efficiency, reduce costs, comply with legal requirements, and follow best practice. Next slide. The report is broken up into the following 10 sections: purchasing overview, board policies, staffing and organization, contracts and purchasing process, bidding process, accounts payable, conflict of interest, transactions review, purchasing and credit cards, and employee incentives and awards. I'm going to read, bear with me while I read this section out. It really lays the foundation for our report. In local education agencies, including school districts, the process of purchasing supplies, equipment, and services is dictated by statute, local board policy, district procedures and practices, Sections of the Education Code, Public Contract Code, Government Code, and California Code of Regulations provide the legal basis and parameters within which a school district must conduct its purchasing functions. Board policies, regulations, procedures, and guidelines add controls that are designed to protect school districts by meeting various purchasing and contract needs efficiently while considering lowest cost and highest value. The general guidelines and best practices for LEA purchasing include board policies and regulations to provide the foundation and expectation that purchasing follows legal requirements, provides strong internal controls, and meets procurement objectives. Number 2, designation of staff members' responsibilities and authority throughout the purchasing process. And 3, standardized procedures for vendor selection, requisition generation, and issuance of purchase orders. These procedures should also establish competitive bidding processes to ensure prudent and optimal use of funds and appropriate minimum standards and compatibility requirements for supplies and services. Board policies, we reviewed the board policies and we found them to be current and within the legal statute and best practices. Our recommendations follow to that it is important to keep them current and ensure staff is aware and follow them. Staffing and organization. We found the Rialto School District to be adequately staffed. The staff was knowledgeable, and a segregation of duties was maintained. Our recommendations include to maintain the job descriptions in a current fashion, maintain adequate staff to ensure secure segregation of duties, and maintain training. That's it. Contracts and purchasing process. We found that not all contracts seem to align with the best interests of the district. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. We found that not all the desk manuals and documented areas of responsibility and processes were current. We found that the staff was following the processes and had areas of responsibility. The written documents that we reviewed didn't align with that. So it wasn't an issue in what they were doing, we just couldn't get the documents to match up to it. Recommendations are to update those documents and require all contracts and purchases to be processed through purchasing and accounts payable to make sure there's funding available and that services are not duplicated. The bidding process. We found that the legal requirements were met and the staff was extremely knowledgeable. Our recommendations is continue doing what you're doing in the bidding process. Accounts payable. Our review was for contracts and purchasing, but we did want to speak with the accounts payable because they had some valid contribution to that. And we found that their concerns were warranted in regards to making sure that credit cards were only used for appropriate use, were not used to circumvent the purchasing process. A verification of receipt of goods so that they could feel comfortable in paying the vendors, and a concern about employee incentives.
Could you give us some clarification on that?
Let me go into it, when we have, later on, we have some transactions, so if after that you still have those questions, is that okay? Okay. I'm kind of going through each section, and then we have a transaction section that'll talk a lot about those things, okay? Conflict of interest is the next. Board bylaw 9270 adheres to the law, which is Government Code 1090. And what we recommend is that you reinforce the conflict of interest by having a vendor verification process. That's where the vendor also is reviewed to make sure they're a valid vendor. And a vendor affirmation process where the vendor also states that there's no conflict of interest in addition to those employees.
Okay, now we're going to get into some of the detail. As Sharon can tell you, our staff was very patient with us. We requested hundreds of documents. We spent many, many, many hours on this. And in our list of transactions, we have a very brief summary. And I want to make sure you understand that just because it's not listed here doesn't mean it wasn't brought forward. This is just a very brief summary in the transaction that the board members have. It's a very brief summary and highlighting some of the areas that we have concerns. So under the transaction review for purchase orders, for example, we have made within a 2-month period district postage costs, both in excess of $100,000 within 2 months. So $200,000 seems excessive. Now, I would like to say, in context of whatever was happening in the district at that time, that might be absolutely defendable and able to be explained. But from someone coming in, using common evaluation tools and going through other documentation, seeing what happened last year at this time, what happened the following year at this time, that seems highly irregular. So things like that were noted. Again, might be perfectly normal here. Might happen every 5 years at the same time because this certain thing happens. But it does need to be further looked at. In terms of contracts, and we did, again, review hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of purchase orders. Many things were just absolutely fine. There were some findings. Contracts. Contracts, the nature of contract business is difficult. It means the district is doing something out of the norm, that it is a service they cannot provide for themselves, and it is usually something very unique and therefore hard to regulate and establish template language that will be specific enough to cover the district. But it's very critical that all contracts are reviewed at the proper district level for things like overlapping services. Many contracts issued to the same company during the same periods of time. Some contracts involving multiple rates that were billed hourly, therefore making it very difficult for staff to understand when an invoice came through which rate to apply to which contract, because there were many existing contracts during periods of time. Things like that. Payments being made prior to any services being performed on contracts. That was found.
If I can elaborate on that. The payments are made, it's, when we're looking at that, we don't want to blame, we were careful not to blame accounts payable because it was written into the contract that they would receive payment prior to receiving services. So accounts payable followed the contract, but the contract was not in favor of the district.
He's absolutely right. The contract was not specific. We would very much like to encourage the contract system to be as specific as possible, so therefore, people who are making the payments, who are know what is happening, what exactly is the district agreeing to purchase? What exactly is going to be returned? How is it going to be billed? In what time periods? Those kinds of things. We found contracts being signed by paid consultants that were acting as approval process signatories for the district. We found contracts, we found revisions to contracts that the district was unable to provide us, and we found contracts that had future amendments that we had not been provided to begin with. So there's some area of concerns with the contracts. Duplications of service. We had lots of those where it was very difficult from reading the language of the contract. It was very difficult to figure out who was doing which piece of what service, those kinds of things. Anything else on contracts I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah, and yes. We had contracts for things like, for example, Nike, where there was a large contract negotiated with Nike, and there was to be a percentage rebate returned to the district. Ordinarily, we would find that in some type of a billing reduction to a district, so they would know this is how much we committed, and this is our set discount. This is our 10% back from Nike. That is what we are accustomed to seeing in normal circumstances. These reductions were apparently products that were provided to the district for a 10% value of all purchases made that were, first of all, not known to staff when we started asking questions. Second of all, many of them were unable to be tracked. And
Just a general unaccountability of the rebate that was part of the deal. So when you make a deal, you include all parameters of it. That was the agreement, and essentially, if you don't track that 10%, do you get it? How do you know you got it if you did get it?
Where is it?
What?
Where is it?
Exactly. We don't know. So we were not able to identify if that. I'm sorry. We were unable to identify if that 10% was received, and in what manner and to what level.
any other contracts you want me to detail? Vendors?
In this section, we also, there's a few employee incentives as Board Member Montes?
Yes.
Requested. There was one for positive promotions, which is employee incentive frames, totaling $7,429. Not a tremendous amount for a district this size. I mean, it's reasonable to think that. However, going back to, and we'll talk about this in another section, there's no board policy. And although Ed Code allows employee incentives, if you don't have board policy to support it, then it's not legal. So that's just one example there.
There were actually several findings about employee incentives and also as well student incentives. Many things like attendance to baseball games, tickets to Disneyland. Again, in the context of this district, that might be something that occurs on a normal basis, but from what we normally see and the way those things are funded in other places, seems a little odd, and somebody needs to just take a look. Okay.
I'm going to go over these ECS and PMI a little bit. A couple of real standouts with us, other than the Nike, was education consulting services. We saw it was pretty extensive. It seemed that there were 3 separate concurrent contracts going on at the same time over a 35-month period, with payments averaging $42,000 a month. A little bit of a concern with that. Was that the one on the attendance? Yes, that was the one on the attendance, and what appears is that instead of providing an incentive for attendance, it was charging the district for every student, regardless of whether or not they were the ones generating the additional attendance or not. So really not well written in favor of the district there. Another one was for the program management integration for bond sales, and it was written to include the total amount of the bond sales instead of what we typically find in just the amount of the transaction. So again, poorly written, and in the amount of $346,000 for that one.
Can you clarify that? What do you mean it was written for the total amount of the bond?
From what you remember? It appears that, I don't have the contract right in front of me here, but it was written for the total amount of the bond. The fees were based on the total amount of the bond versus those were sold. Yes.
And that was paid up front?
I don't believe it was paid up front. It was paid over a 2-year period. A year and 15-month period.
If I may clear this, generally you pay the amount of the bond sold as a fee if the consultant assisting you to sell the bond. You never pay fee of the total amount of the bond you authorize. That's the difference.
Just the amount that the transaction covers, not the entire amount of the bond. Right.
Okay, and I think that's it. That's it for me.
Okay, then the purchasing credit card.
Well, we haven't had a chance to really read the entire report yet, but I did pick up on, in a couple places, you mentioned contracts being approved without board approval or something. Could you clarify that things were done without board approval?
We actually did. We probably reviewed maybe 150 contracts from 2009 through 2012. And we actually did a handful of times find contracts that the only copy that was provided to us right now today had no board authorization signature on it.
Purchasing and credit card. We want to identify that the purchasing and credit cards are common practice in education agencies. They're useful for efficiency and convenience. However, they require tight controls and should not be used to circumvent district policy or processes. Make sure that they are, and we just state in our recommendations to adopt and enforce a policy that ensures that there's tight controls on them. Employee incentives and awards. They are allowed by Ed Code 44015 for employees for exceptional service or students for excellence. So it is legal. However, before awards are made, the board shall adopt rules and regulations regarding those awards and incentives. We did not find any policy or the noted recognition as to why the awards were given.
You mean the procedure for receiving the procedure for receiving the awards?
When an employee is recognized, when the board should, before they recognize an employee, have a policy in place that we will recognize employees for, could be as broad as those things determined by the board to recognize them. Whatever the board has or wants, but it has to be an approved board policy. You have to have that. The legal statute allows the board to approve a policy, but we did not have a board policy to go to.
But the incentives were there.
But the incentives were there.
What for, though?
We see for employee excellence and what have you, but we don't have identified as to why. And typically, cases like this, if someone was to do something that would have increase the safety of the school, an act of outstanding kindness, public recognition of some kind that they did something for the community or the school, and the board wanted to present them. Typically, they do it with a certificate, just like the safety officers tonight, a certificate, and you move on. If you're going to give them something of tangible substance, of value, there needs to be a policy behind that, and then you need to acknowledge why it was worth it to the district to pay them that amount, in essence, or to award them that amount.
I also noticed in the report, which I was just skimming through as fast as I could, but I didn't get to read it all. Apparently, obviously, from what I'm seeing, our internal controls were violated and our policies were violated. And I noticed you made that comment in your report and also added that it, by the top level of administration. Can you give examples of that?
Yeah, well, just to kind of explain that, any organization, whether it be a school district, a business, or whatever, is governed by the boss.
Mm-hmm.
The boss here is the school board, who sets the policy and parameters, which is then acted by the superintendent, who enforces all the rules through the hierarchy of staff. If I'm the purchasing person, and my boss comes and tells me to ignore the process and make this happen, or my boss were to just make it happen, and I was to just, pay the bill,
Mm-hmm.
or what have you, I'm going to work as directed. So if there is that missing component of control in there, then things can go wrong. Even though you have the controls in place, you have the processes in place, the policies in place, and everything. If you don't have that top administration support, or that top administration is not following those guidelines, any place can run astray. Okay, and we, as far as examples, I mean, the contracts and those that we identify here, that for instance that were made, the contracts that were made where it was to be paid first. What we identify is that those contracts agreements were made by top administration and not by going through the purchasing and accounts payable departments.
Okay.
Okay.
As a general statement, after looking at all of this, and to us as the Board of Education, what is we have a lot of problems here. What is the biggest problem we have? or can we not narrow it down?
Well, in regards to the purchasing contracts, it's really setting the tone from the top that make sure that these are the processes, this is the way we want our district run,
Okay.
And enforcing that. And the board has the single employee of the superintendent who is to see that that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the superintendent or anyone down through the hierarchy breaks that link, that's where the problem needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Just to kind of conclude, Howard, go ahead. This comment here, I'm going to read this just so due to the circumvention of internal controls by top administration, including not following practices, contracts not in the best interest of the district, and questionable purchases, leading to significant material weaknesses in internal controls. Those weaknesses are evident. While this was not a fraud audit, okay, we believe that the county superintendent should be notified. According to Ed Codes 42638, if the County Office of Education determines that there is evidence that fraud, misappropriation of funds, or other illegal activities may have occurred, they shall notify the state controller, superintendent of public instruction, and the district attorney.
Do you have evidence?
Miss,
Does that have to come from the county, or do you have evidence of the misappropriation of public funds?
The Ed Code states that the county is the one that takes action. They have to believe. Our report, in certain instances, the county would suspect it before we'd come in, and they would send us in to give them that evidence. At this point in our report, we came in not knowing. We were just looking for internal controls, purchasing, and contracts. We weren't told, and we're an independent agency. We weren't told to look for this issue or that issue. We kind of just started, and as we started asking questions, we asked more questions, and keep rolling. But at this point, following the Ed Code, we think it's warranted that the county superintendent be notified, and if they believe, based on our report or any other evidence that they may choose to ask for, if they find that there's evidence there may be fraud, then they can take the next action.
Okay, and who would be the one to notify them? The Board of Education?
It would be the school.
Okay.
The district here.
if I may, Madam President, I think the purpose of this audit was for transparency to this district and to this community, and I think we've gotten sufficient transparency from your audit, and as embarrassing as it might be and disappointing, I still would like to thank you for doing a thorough job. Taking into consideration that this audit might possibly expose the district to litigation, and also the possibility that the district can initiate litigation to recover some of these funds. I'd like to request, Madam Chair, that we go back into closed session to discuss some of these issues and get some more specifics on some of these information that you gave, because we did just receive the final draft tonight, and I know I have a lot of questions. I'm sure the board members here have some more questions. So if you could just hang tight for a little bit, I think, I don't know if you guys would prefer
Board Member Montes, we will go back into closed session because there are questions that we need you answered from FIGMAC. Basically, there are personnel matters that we need to discuss in closed session, and we will, when we are there, I think we need to decide on another special board meeting where we can digest all this with our attorney and the people that we need to conspire with, so that we can make a full report to the public. Nothing has been decided tonight. We got facts tonight. We don't have answers, and that requires a special board meeting where we can get all the facts and have a closed session with board members to make a determination where we go from here. So if you will stay here until the end of our meeting, we will go back into closed session and we will have more questions for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, with all due respect, I'd like to request, Madam Chair, sorry, Madam Chair.
You're in the wrong meeting.
No, I'm just a little upset right now, and I apologize. I'd like to request that we go back into closed session now, if that's okay. Maybe we can let the public give their comment before we do so, but...
No, we're going to finish this meeting and go to closed session at the end of this meeting, Mr. Montes. Thank you. Thank you, FIGMAC. We will hold tight and we will come back with you later. Now we will move back to public comments, and we will have comments from the floor. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes to make a presentation. Mr. Islam, do we have any?
Yes. First person is Rafael Chavarria. I hope I'm saying correctly. Yeah. Is she here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Muhammad and cabinet. My name is Rafael Chavarria. I have been a resident of Rialto for over 20 years, and I'm a retired state employee. I would like to address the board in the need for cooperation from all board members in being able to work closely together to bring about the best educational services that we can provide to students of the Rialto Unified School District. At the present time, the Board of Education is divided. We have Mrs. O'Kelly, who has a wealth of experience in the Rialto school system and has provided services to the district for over 30 years. She is dedicated and continues to work to improve and help the school district and the students. Also, on this side of the board, we have Mr. Montes, who is very visible, very visible board member in the community and has the courage to stand up for the rights of students. It appears that board members Joe Martinez and Joe Ayala, who are very political, are at odds with these two board members. Board member Joanne Gilbert is now board president, appears to go both ways on different issues. At the last board meeting of December the 9th, Mr. Edgar Montes was in line and due to be elected as the next president of the board. However, this was denied by the majority of 3 votes. Then there was a motion to nominate Mr. Montes as vice president, and again this was denied. Mrs. Kelly was also denied the opportunity for vice president. Mrs. O'Kelly has been very vocal about providing the best services to students without a political agenda or self-interest. However, the majority of 3 have overlooked the trust, support, and respect that Mrs. O'Kelly has earned within the community. The denial of Mr. Montes, not voted by the majority as board president, certainly appears unfair, unprofessional, and unethical. As known, this is the first time this has happened in the history of the Rialto School Board. It is unjust that the vice president was not elected as board president. The community expected better from you as board members. Remember, it is the community of parents and citizens of Rialto who elected you to your office. At the present time, the students in the Rialto schools are not performing to the level of academic proficiency, and the community is upset that the quality of education is not being met. The 3 board members have been giving their blessings to the superintendent's poor decisions and has had a severe negative impact on the students and community. The board needs to work together to put behind the distractions that have occurred in the last 4 months and focus on the students. You need to raise your standards of expectations and leadership to this district. You need to eliminate the division that has been caused due to the poor leadership and irresponsible fiscal decisions made by the superintendent presently on administrative leave.
Your time is up, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
Can I have just one more minute? I have 1 paragraph left, and it could be less than 1 minute.
All right.
As a board, you're aware of how all of this has negatively impacted the image of the board and the progress of the district. You ran for office because you wanted better for the schools in the community. Well, it's time for all of the members of the board to come together and do what is right, to be united, honest, and work with integrity. The district and community is ready for a strong school board with strong and ethical leadership. The community trusts that you will listen to the voice of the community that elected you and work for a future we can be proud of.
Thank you. Mr. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I would like to give a copy of this report to each one of the board members and also the interim superintendent. And if somebody from the media is here, I would like to also give them a copy of this.
just give them to the officer. He'll make sure that we get them. Next, we have comments from on the agenda?
Not on the. not on
Nothing? So that's all of the
the-
comments?
No, I have more not on the agenda.
All right, go ahead,
Can I
Mr.
go? Sorry.
Islam. Mhm.
Cynthia Oliver. Oliver.
Please remember, you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
I will be short. Good
Thank
evening,
you.
everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Cynthia Oliveros Valenzuela. I am a teacher at Rialto High School. I teach French and Spanish. I wanted to start by saying thank you so much for giving us our prep day back for this semester. It was taken from us, I think, for 2 years, and it is well needed for us to get back in mode to start teaching. Also, the first day back, we also had the webcast meeting. That was amazing. Thank you so much for providing that for us. You all sounded very excited and animated about it, and it made us feel really good to have that. I wanted to share with you a conference that I attended to in December, the Learning Forward conference in Dallas. Every year it's at somewhere else, but I had the opportunity to go on my own with 2 other assistant principals, one from Carter and one from Rialto High School, and also Monica Garcia from JHU. We all went on our own. We all paid on our own to go. There's many of us who really want to grow as an educator, but we're constantly told that there's no money. We have to look in our bank accounts and get our own money and find our own ways to get there. I hope that in the near future, we get to send teachers there, parents, classified, and even hopefully personnel from the district office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Charlie LaChance.
Good evening, Board Chair and Board members and Interim Superintendent Islam. We have a relationship from a past district, so I do know Mohammed very well. My name is Charlie LaChance. I am one of the new CSEA labor reps. You will now have 3 servicing your district for a while. I just wanted to come introduce myself. I always am really amazed at the citizens who come forward to be board members. I know that you have other lives, you have families. I appreciate the work you do. I know that it's difficult, and it appears that I've come to this district at a very exciting time. So I'm listening and looking and seeing what's going on. I look forward to working with the district and with the board. I'm very fortunate to have a good chapter leader here, Cheryl Decker. She's the CSCA president, and we'll be working close together. So I just wanted to introduce myself so that the first time you do hear from me, I won't be in here going like this. I'll come in here saying, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for your service. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome to Rialto. Thank you.
The next, Rafael Trujillo. Trujillo.
Trujillo.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Hi. Good evening, Rialto School Board President and the rest of the school board members. I'm Rafael Trujillo. I'm here representing our state senator, Norma Torres. And I just wanted to bring up a couple items, and one of them was some good news that was just recently leaked. And it's kind of a preview of what you're going to find with the governor's proposed budget. But as you know, the state legislature has been working to help repay some of the deferred payments to our schools. And the number that's being kind of previewed is $6 billion to our schools, which is great news.
All for us.
And then we have a $3.9 billion boost for K through 12 education. So in all, it's almost about $10 billion. Wow. And the actual details will come out when the governor actually releases his official budget. These are just numbers that have been kind of leaked to our local press, and you'll be able to find the full summary at the Sacramento Bee, and you'll be able to see the full budget. The constitutional deadline for the governor's proposal is actually this Friday, but these are the numbers that are coming out already. And then secondly, I wanted to let the community know that the senators always trust to provide direct attention to our constituents. And this year, we're happy to provide a Capital in Your Corner in Rialto, where the senator will provide individual attention to constituents on any state matters. And so in this year, it's going to be at Rialto Middle School on April 3rd, which is a Thursday, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. at their multipurpose room. So if there's any constituents out there that need assistance on a state matter, feel free to come, and she'll give you your 5 minutes to have individual time with her, and we'll be able to work out some of the issues you have with your state matters. So thank you for having me here, and I'm hoping that this good news will come out even better when the actual official budget comes out from the governor. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Trujillo. Thank you.
Next, John Pruitt. John Pruitt.
What was the date? I was going to ask the same question. What was that date?
April
Thursday.
3rd.
Good evening. Thank you, Board. And good evening to the audience. I'm here tonight to talk about a contract that the Board instituted with me back in May of 2013. Then President Ayala called and asked if I would come to the district to discuss a contract of doing board workshops. And we met in Dr. Seabram's office, and he laid out what he thought the needs were. After that, I was walking out with Mr. Ayala, and I said, "What about the contract?" And Dr. Seabram said, "Go see Muhammad." I said, "Okay." So, giving Mr. Islam the criteria or parameters of my scope of work and everything, the contract was signed and approved by the board and signed by Mr. Islam on May 31st. I never received the contract. I had to call to ask about when the contract is going to be returned. And I called on June 24th, and here's a letter to verify that I had to make that call. Interesting, I didn't pick this day, but they're talking about contracts tonight. There were some problems and concerns about contracts. I didn't create those problems. The lack of procedure and going through the proper procedures created those contract problems. I didn't create them. And on September the 25th, there was an amendment to the contract to get the final payment. And here in the amendment, there was an added changes to attachment A of my original contract. Totally unnecessary. And it's to replace what I had there. So it changed the nature of my contract. And that was on October the 7th. Last contract was approved for amendment on September the 25th. October the 7th, I signed an amendment. October the 21st, I still don't have the check, so I called Mr. President, and he worked on it. According to Mr. Ayala, Mr. Islam said that it was in the county. I got the check on October 25th, and I got a call at 3:30 in the evening to be here that by 4:30. If I didn't get here by 4:30, it wasn't going to be available. I asked him, "Will you please put a stamp on it and just mail it?" After hearing your postage costs, I understand why you didn't have a stamp. But on October the 25th, a check was provided. But that check did not come from the county. It came from the revolving account. This could have been paid on September the 25th when it was originally approved. Mr. Islam, you need to stop doing what you're doing. You're making the district look bad. Oh, boy, good timing. And I'm instituting Article 2 of the contract. And there's the paperwork. Thank you.
Next, Daniel Eanes, E-N-Z.
Hi, my name is Daniel Lanes. I'm the district director for Assemblymember Cheryl Brown. If you're not familiar with her, she's the Assembly. Oh, you can't hear it?
Please start over.
Oh, sorry.
Inge, please start over.
My name is Daniel Lanes. I'm the district director for Assemblymember Cheryl Brown. If you're not familiar with her, she is the Assemblymember for the Rialto area. And I'm here today just to introduce myself, as well as to let you know what's going on with Assemblymember Brown. She's having several different events going on in February. One of her first events that she's going to be holding is called Ibano, and it's going to be specifically a photographic exhibit that's going to be taking you through a journey of the Afro-Mexicano experience in Mexico. So it's African culture in Mexico, and that's going to be February 1st. It's going to be from February 1st to March 1st at the National Orange Show in San Bernardino from 5 to 8. And we invite everybody here to attend. We're really excited about the event, and so we hope we see you guys there. As well as we're also holding an open house February 28th in San Bernardino. The address is 290 North D Street, San Bernardino in Banner Tower from 3 to 6. And I also wanted to invite you guys, we're going to be holding fairly soon a couple different forums on the local control funding that the governor signed this past October. And we're hoping to really get the parents involved in what that means and what that means for you guys here in Rialto. So if you'd like more information on those specific events, please give us a call. Our number is 909-381-3238. And if you have any questions, I'll be in the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Celia Zelaya.
Buenas noches, Board Member, Mr. Slan y toda la audiencia. Mi nombre es Celia Zelaya y soy coordinadora del Grupo de Apoyo para Padres de Niños Especiales. Quiero agradecer a Mr. Montes y Mr. Ayala por su donación y por su presencia en nuestra fiesta de Navidad de los Niños Especiales que se llevó a cabo el día diciembre 21. Gracias por su apoyo a nuestro grupo y a los miembros que no pudieron acompañarnos. Esperamos que puedan acompañarnos en el futuro. Aprovecho también para pedirles transparencia y que recuerden los board members que fueron elegidos por la comunidad y están siendo pagados con nuestros taxis. Gracias.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Islam, and the viewing audience. My name is Celia Zelaya, and I'm the coordinator of the support group for parents with children with special needs. And I'd like to give thanks to Mr. Montes for his donation, and also for Mr. Ayala and his donation, and for their presence at our Christmas celebration for the children with special needs on December 21st. Thank you for your support to our group, and to those members who couldn't attend, we hope that you can attend in the future. I'd like to take this moment also to ask that you remember that you were elected by us and by the community, and you are paid by our tax dollars. Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Islam. Now we'll move to D on our agenda, public hearing. Public hearing number 1, pursuant to the requirements of Government Code and Board Policy, the form for public disclosure of proposed collective bargaining agreement, AB 1200, Statute of 1991, Chapter 1213, as revised by AB 2756, Statute 2004, Chapter 25, Government Code 3547.5, between the Rialto Education Association, REA, and the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education, is hereby posted in compliance with the legislative requirements of public notice. That closes public hearing.
Ms. Gill.
I'd like to make a motion to open
Yes.
public hearing. So I motion that we now open public hearing.
Second.
Okay. Is there another item?
Any public comment?
Public comments.
Any public comments?
No.
Could I get a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we close public hearing. All those in favor? Vote
Aye.
by yes. Aye.
Yes.
And the time is 8:35. Now we'll move to consent calendar items. All items on the consent calendar will be acted upon in one motion unless pulled by the Board of Education members or the acting superintendent for individual action. May I have a motion to approve consent items, references E through J?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions, any pull, any comments?
We had J22,
J22,
number 10, employee 107751314. We pulled that one.
all right, that has been pulled. Any other comments? All those in favor, can I get a motion, a vote by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Every board member responded aye. Now we'll move to discussion action items. Action items will be enacted in one motion unless the members of the Board of Education request specific items to be discussed. Can I get a motion to approve action items K1? That's it.
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. Is that it?
We need to vote to approve a RUSD state legislative representative.
Where's that?
Item
Oh,
4.
yeah, item 4, I'm sorry, yeah.
There's also another right here. Tentative settlement, item 2.
All of those, everything was already approved. We just need to
Yes.
choose a representative for item 4.
RUSD state legislative representative, am I correct in saying that was Mr. Ayala?
I believe you are correct.
Yes. We need to elect a new one.
I
And-
nominate. Are
I'm
we taking
sorry.
nominations?
Yes, we would like Mr. Ayala to maybe let the audience know what the duties of the
Point.
legislative representative is.
I just have to point out that we approved item K1, failed to approve item K2 and K3, and we're on item K4.
Okay, we'll go back to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Ayala, would you please give us a brief explanation of the duties of the state legislative representative?
I haven't seen it anywhere in writing. However, it was communicated to me that during a crisis situation where our neighboring communities and California School Board Association sent out messages for support, that we would send a representative to Sacramento. I did accept one of the invitations. 300 school board members met, and this was during a time when we were in a financial crisis in education. We assembled, we were organized. However, we failed with our ability to reach across the aisles to open up communication. And without getting political here, I will say I came back a little disappointed, and I shared what I had learned, and I said, unless we can use our money in a favorable way with a return on our investment, I cautioned everybody not to take advantage of these invitations. However, I'm not saying we shouldn't go, because we do need representation, but we do have assemblymen, we have our senators, the Senate. However, sometimes you need to kind of light a fire underneath their podiums, and so we were actually moving up there as lobbyists. So, with that said, okay, we've only gone up one time in the last 3 years, but in case we need to send somebody, then you know who that person will be, and so we can vote on somebody tonight, and they'll be ready to go in case we need to send somebody up there.
All right, Ms. O'Kelly.
Well, I'd like to nominate Edgar Montes.
Can I get a second? Can I get a second?
Well,
Wait
I
a
accept.
minute, we haven't got, she nominated you. Do we need a second on that? Or is it,
I just,
I will give you a second on that
All
one,
right.
Mr. Montes.
thank you.
I was gonna say thank you, Vice President Ayala. I was gonna say I accept the nomination because I'd love to tell Sacramento a piece of my mind.
All right, well, Mr. Montes, let me tell you this. You only go when they call you. So if you want to tell them a piece of your mind, it will be under the direction of RUSD unless they ask you to come. But do we all agree that Mr. Montes will be an excellent state representative?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you are it, Mr. Montes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, to clarify what Mr. Martinez said, and it's the way you read the agenda, it said action items will be enacted in one motion unless members of the Board of Education request specific items to be discussed. And then it said approve action item K1. And I was under the understanding that we were going to approve all of them with one motion.
That's
But-
what the first sentence says.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
what
why
it
that's
said.
there. It shouldn't be
Yes.
there.
It should
So-
have read K1 through K3.
Yes. We have to let Karen know that we appreciate her and that there may be mistakes, and we just want you to know, Karen, that we don't hold you responsible. We'll just
It's
move
okay.
on. So all of the items were approved. So we will
In that
move
case,
from.
yes. I
All
would
right.
agree with that.
All right, so we're free with that.
That was the
And let
intent.
me mention that Karen is here because Rosie had surgery, and we want to wish her well.
Yes.
She had hip replacement, I think it was.
Yes.
And so Karen is here doing an excellent job, and she's learning. So we want to give her all the time that she needs so that she will get this job done for us. And so we appreciate that, Karen. Thank you.
Karen.
Now we will move to comments from the acting superintendent, Mr. Islam. Any other comments?
Nothing today, but I want to thank board and the community. I'm blessed to be in Rialto, and I'll do everything what's best for the districts, and I appreciate everybody's working as a team for the cause of the students. We're all here for the students in the school. We need to set aside all other differences, and we need to work together what's best for the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Islam. Now we'll go to Board Member O'Kelly.
Yes, I'd like to add to what Mr. Islam said. This is all about the students, and but in order to do a good job and to provide the funding that the students need, we also need to make sure that everything else is working as it should be. So I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. It really is, your support when you come to these meetings is extremely important to us, and your concern for our community is obvious, and I appreciate that. We need as much outward show of concern as we can get, because we've got, We've got great kids in this district, and we owe them the very best education we can give them. And that takes all of us. So, second, I would like to wish everyone a wonderful 2014. Started off with a bang. My daughter got married, so already. So we've had a busy time lately. My second daughter, I've got two, but I attended the Eisenhower Choral Christmas concert at Carter High School right before Christmas. Those of you who have seen Miss Chamberlain and her choirs from Eisenhower High School know that that is a phenomenal night of entertainment. And I just wanted to add that I found out being in the school district, you can have tons of entertainment and a great time, very cheap. If you go to, we have so much talent with our kids. Go to the drama productions, go to the concerts, go to the band competitions. You'll have a great time, and it doesn't cost much, and the kids love the support. So just a little plug there. Carter holds about 800 people, and it was standing room only in there. And kids had to sit on their parents' laps. That's how crowded it was for this concert. And I guess that's about it. And thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. Mr. Montes.
Thank you, Board President, Ms. Gilbert. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. I just would like to, first of all, say that Rialto is still here. Rialto's always going to be here, always has been. And we're doing a lot of good things here in Rialto. Me personally, not just as a board member, but as a parent, I'm very happy that school started up again. Not because for the reasons everybody might be laughing about, but because I genuinely do want my children to not go too long without being away from hitting the books and learning, in the classroom. So I'm very grateful that school started back. Those 3 weeks were, kind of long, but very, very relaxing. We did a lot of things. I took the kids to Sky Zone. It's this this trampoline place where I sprained my ankle because I thought I can keep up with them, and but I guess I'm learning. In my mid-30s, I'm realizing that the gray hairs that I'm earning here, might be a sign that I'm no longer 20 years old. So I need to take it easy.
Yeah, it's rough being that old.
My kids were doing flips. My kids were doing flips on the trampoline, and I thought I can keep up with them. But anyhow, I'm glad they're back in school. I would like to welcome everybody back from winter break. I do also want to say that the DLAC, the students, the DSAC students were talking about the Christmas parade, the holiday parade, and I was able to participate. I try to go every year, and I understand. I want to congratulate Ms. Gilbert because I understand she was recognized at prayer breakfast that same day, and
Yes,
most of the board members and staff members were there to support her. So congratulations on your recognition, Ms. Gilbert. You deserve it. But the Christmas parade was also nice. Almost all of our schools participate. Our middle schools, our high schools. And I want to thank our Madam Mayor, Ms. Robertson, and all the people over at City Hall, because even though it's the Rialto City Parade, it looks like, when you look at all the participants, it looks like it's Rialto School District Parade because we have so many marching bands and so many students participate. So I want to thank them again for always welcoming us and always taking us into account when they do their parade. And I hope that we can expand and build on that relationship with the city. I also would like to thank Mrs. Celaya, who recently, every year, Mrs. Celaya, for those of you who don't know, she's the leader of a parent support group for parents with children of special needs. and many of which are Rialto Unified School District students and parents. And every year they organize a nativity gathering, like a Christmas celebration for the children and their families. And they raise money selling food throughout the year, accepting donations, and they're able to give all of the children presents. They break piñatas, and they have great food and have really nice things for them. So I want to thank Ms. Zelaya for doing that every year for our students and the parents. So if we could just give her a round of applause. Gracias. Thank you. And Myrna also. And I also would like to thank the representatives who were here on behalf of Assembly Member Mrs. Cheryl Brown and State Senator Norma Torres. It's really nice to see our representatives, our elected officials who have inner workings with our communities, send representatives here and inform us on what's going on. That was something that was very common that I seen a few years back, and then for whatever reason stopped for some time. And it's good to see legislators sending representatives back to inform us on what's going on. And also, I'd like to recognize also another representative here from Ms. Cheryl Brown's office, Assemblymember Cheryl Brown, Representative Sarah Garcia. Thank you for being here at our meeting, and wanted to recognize you. And I believe we also had City Council member Joe Baca Jr. At our meeting too earlier, and I want to thank him for joining us here tonight. I do want to also thank Mr. Trayvon Sims, Special Counsel for the Board of Education. He has really been a breath of fresh air since he's been working with the board here. So I want to thank him for all the hard work that he's doing. And last but not least, I'd like to give a minute of my time, relinquish a minute or two of my time, if it's okay with board president and the board, to Miss Officer Patrick McNay, who I recognized, the district recognized at the last board meeting for his leadership and for his sacrifice and all that he does to help our students and the youth of our communities with through martial arts and the disciplines of self-defense. So if you would please take the mic, I'll relinquish the rest of my time. And I apologize for not giving you the opportunity at the last board meeting, but it was a hectic meeting. We've been having hectic meetings lately, and I got a little nervous, so I apologize. But
I didn't even think I was going to have to speak, but
please do.
Pull your mic up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the new year's starting out great for the program. My chief always supports me in everything, Mr. Gordon Leary. I was invited last night to the Rialto Coalition by Mr. David Phillips. Lieutenant Carroll was there from Rialto PD, Detective Marquez, and a lot of people, citizens from the city. Myself, my master, and other sensei showed up, and they really enjoyed my presentation, and the PD and the communities invited me to do more stuff with the city. So I feel like I'm trying to bridge the gap between the district and the city, because we're all one people. We all live here, and we're one community. So yeah, I'm excited for the new year. So everything looks good. I thank the Rialto Coalition for inviting me. I didn't know how awesome this committee is. Mr. Montes was going to show up, but he had a swear sworn in last night in Moreno Valley, so I let everybody know where he was at. But it was awesome. The Community Coalition is doing good things in this community, and I was just glad to even speak there. And I'd like to thank the board, Acting Superintendent, Ms. Moran, for the support you give me and my department on the different stuff we try to help with the community. And thanks again.
I want to thank you for also bridging that gap. I was invited to that meeting, but I also had another engagement. But I'm glad you're still working, doing well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, President Gilbert. I wanted to thank our security department. I appreciate them always because I know you're always working behind the scenes, whether it's getting one of the refurbished ambulances ready for Safe Schools projects or trying to get that funded. I wanted to remind the community that we are in phase 2 of at least a 3-phase security upgrade, if you wish to call it that. It's been quite some time, thank God, that there has not been a student shooting. The last one, it was Sandy Hook, and at that point, this board, California School Boards Assemblies, boards across the nation, took notice. And they came together and suggested that we do everything possible. Just a quick recap, Virginia Tech had 170 bullets released in 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, it could be staff, it could be any children, but our security is on the front line. So the third step is to move to bridge that gap, that 10-minute gap, until law enforcement, the police department can actually get there. So I'm going to ask Mr. Mohammed Islam to direct funds as security needs it to upgrade their equipment this year, which would be firearms training and firearms. That way you can bridge the gap and this community can be assured that there will be somebody standing between an active shooter and our children. It's asking a lot, but some people are willing. And our security team is awesome, as you know. Secondly, I'm dying to know what Mr. John Pruitt handed, what he wished to invoke, item 2, article 2, or?
I don't know, but he said that's an invoice that he's demanding another $1,000.
Okay. We'll have to review it and put it on the board agenda, but depending what it is. Okay. All right. Other than that, Happy New Year and steady as she goes. Madam
Mr.
President.
Ayala, thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Well, thank you, President Gilbert. I'd like to just congratulate the parent link, the parents. I think that was very, very commendable, the time that they spent when they could be doing other things, and that's a great example for our community, and not only that, we should be very, very proud of all those parents. Kids coming up from the DSAC and sharing their experiences, that's great to hear too. I'm going to keep it brief because everything I heard tonight, I could just echo and say that was great. You know, and we are doing our best up here to make sure that people are treated fair and given their rights, and from top to bottom. It's not the easiest challenge, but we take it serious and we'll do our best. And I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. I had a wonderful day today with the DSAC students. I had lunch with them, and I learned a lot about them, their aspirations, what they want to do after completing their education here in Rialto school, in the school district, and it was just a pleasure. The gentleman spoke about how well they spoke, and that gives me joy. I always say this at every board meeting, that's one of the highlights for me of the board meeting, is when we hear the presentations from our students. I would like to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and we're going to close this meeting tonight with a moment of silence for two people. Mr. James Hopper, who passed away during the Christmas break, was a teacher at Frisbee Elementary. We lost him. I'm sorry?
Frisbee Middle School.
Frisbee, what did I say?
Elementary.
Frisbee Middle School, I'm sorry. And then we also had the death of Paula Bailey's mother, who's one of our parent volunteers, Mrs. Nadia Cow, who passed away. We will hear from Mr. Harper's family after they give us some more information on his passing. So before we close, let's give a moment of silence to these people. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Did I hear we are to go into
Yes, we are.
closed session?
Yes.
I move that we go into closed session rather than close the meeting, then come back out and then close it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Could I get a second?
Second?
It's been moved and second that we go into closed session.
Time?
9:01.
Thank you.
What time do you start in the morning, my friend? When the baby starts crying. True. All through the night. Wow. No, he's not that bad. No, this is closed session. Somebody's got to.
I thought this. Yeah. That wears you out. You may ask. Just thinking.
The meeting of the Rialto Unified School District is reconvening at 10:10. Report out of our closed session. There was no action taken tonight. We will have a special board meeting on Monday, January 13th at 4 p.m. And that's it. Could I get a motion to close, to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
It's been moved and second that we will adjourn at 10:11. All in favor? Aye.
I was going to say, don't we need
Good
to
night.
vote?
It's a formality.
Yes.
Yeah.